comes from politicsdoneright.com, publishers of How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It, As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom, It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, and other books written by Egberto Willis. Welcome to Politics. My name is Egberto Willis, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. Good morning to the United States of America. Good morning to the entire world receiving our signals via the magic of El Internet, formerly known as the ARPANET, now controlled by the billionaires, something that we must do and take over back again. Anyway, folks, we're going to have a great show today. Before we get any further, however, let's move it on to El Estudio with El Señor Howard Reynolds and Jack Van Beba.
Oh, I really think that Jack deserves top billing this morning and every morning, too. He gets here very early in the morning, a little after 5 o'clock, and gets everything ready to go. And I just kind of come in at 5:30 and say, "Hey, Jack, is everything okay?"
He skates.
Yeah, he lets me skate is what it is. But then again, he saves me a lot, too, because he'll look over my shoulder and go, that doesn't belong there. Okay, Jack.
Jack's a good guy.
He's a wonderful guy.
Thank y'all.
Thursday morning at the radio, November 13th, 2025. And we have a great show with Neil Aquino today. So I have no rants. I could go into a rant, but I'm not going to. We'll just go ahead and throw it over to Jack and let him see what he's got to say.
Well, I'm gonna do your headlines this morning. I'm having a little trouble writing here lately. So, All right. Program begins with a clear view of. Anyway, good morning, Egberto. How are you?
Good morning, my brother. Talk to me, my brother.
All right. The program begins with a clear view of a country confronting multiple fronts of resistance and reckoning. Puerto Ricans continue to rise against U.S. militarism and threats of war, asserting solidarity with the people of Venezuela and demanding an end to violence against their own fishermen. At the same time, economists revealed the bleak reality of Trump's sputtering economy, one defined by stagnant wages and vanishing job growth. Into the landscape steps Houston Democracy Project founder Neil Aquino, whose analysis of local elections and police power underscores how democracy must be defended at every level. Together, these stories reveal an American reckoning with choices that shape its moral and political future. Good morning, Neil.
And good morning,
Good morning. Thank you.
Yeah, we're swirling around with the tidy bowl, man, in our country. It's a country, and it's a country in decline.
You know, and it's getting rough.
The Trump administration is not making it any better. Once I'm reading about all the stuff of the big beautiful bilge is what it should be called. It's ruinous. It is ruinous, and it adds almost $4 trillion to the debt. Hey, aren't they supposed to be paying that off?
Yeah. Well, are you kidding me? You know better than that.
I must be kidding you. All right. Take it away, Egberto, for your great show this morning.
Well, thank you, my brother. We are going to have a great show. We are going to have even a better show because the one and only Neil Aquino is in the house. Good morning. By the way, let me give a mea culpa. We have an issue with Neil's entry into our broadcast system. So we're just seeing pieces of Neil in the blur. But you know what's most important about Neil? Getting the voice out and getting the knowledge out. So we still have Neil with us. Brother Neil, how are you doing this morning?
All right. Good morning. We're proceeding. Technical glitch. Appreciate it. And good morning to our local, global, regional audience. And we will discuss some Houston and Harris County and its politics and no doubt some places beyond.
Absolutely so. Absolutely so. Well, you know, while you were talking, I'm trying to look up the words that the Colombian president called the White House. You know, Donald Trump is out there in the South with a big armada ready to attack, who knows, Colombia or Venezuela or who knows. But it's amazing when you have the kind of president that you have. We have them referred to the White House something as a band of pedophiles from the president of Colombia. Think about that.
Right. That
Neil.
aircraft carrier down there is Gerald R. Ford, and I've wondered what Gerald R. Ford would think of this, and think of Trump. I'll even speak semi well of a Republican here. He just would have been shaking his head.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting down. Look, have you ever sat down and thought about, is this real? Is this really, really real? I mean, last night, as I was writing the program, right, I started to, I started to look, and I said, I am actually writing this stuff, and this stuff is real. And this is the president of the United States. I can't believe it. But anyhow, before we get started, welcome aboard, Joyce Kibble. Welcome. LBW, La Profesora, is in the house. How you doing, LBW? Darlene is here with us. Good morning, everyone, from Darlene. And she says, sorry morning. Oh, Darlene, I'm so sad that you're having a sorry morning. Cheryl Elkin says he didn't mince words, which is good. Yeah, he was clear about what our president is, or many think that he is what I should say, based on the not the scant evidence. A lot of what's coming out right now seemed like he was well involved with Epstein. And this is starting to be more serious than I thought it was going to be. But anyway, Neil, what are we going to really talk about today?
Well, a lot of the discussion yesterday at Houston City Council was about ICE, the city's cooperation with ICE. And it took up, so this was the city and ICE have been cooperating. The city and ICE have been, the police department and ICE have been cooperating. There's been no doubt about that. The Chronicle has been reporting it over and over and over. And then finally, this past Saturday, Whitmire finally just admitted it was true. Now, he didn't admit it to all the hundreds of people who have come to council and asked about it or inquired about it, or to council members, a few who have spoken about it. Many have been silent, including many Democrats. He was at a Baker Forum presentation or panel at Rice University in an interview with Bill King. That's who he told, right? So,
Wow.
Bill King is a man who was almost mayor. Bill, if you remember, Egberto, Sylvester Turner beat him like 51-49.
Yeah, I know Bill,
Right. And, Bill King isn't, there's worse than Bill King, but why that's the platform where Mayor Whitmire would share this information, and not to concerned Houstonians. That just shows you who he's comfortable with. And it was telling in itself. So there was a discussion at council yesterday, where Whitmire just essentially said he downplayed even the admission he made on Saturday or over the weekend. He brought up the head of the union to talk about it, not the police chief, okay, not the department, not anyone publicly accountable, but Douglas Griffith, who is the president of the Houston Police Officers Union.
Let me break you there. Let me break you there. Is this the same guy who sent out the memo to New York that, hey, if you don't like Mandami, come on down? Okay, continue, please.
Absolutely. And the Houston Police Officers Union, on that advertisement, so the Houston Police after Mandami's election, police union, they had it ready to go, sent out an ad saying to New York City Police, will you come here? And on it, for example, the ad says governor, lieutenant governor, and legislature supportive, right? So this is a union that is supporting the people causing the problem. The police union is not the solution. The police union is part of the problem. And this is who Mayor Whitmire brought to discuss in the city, someone who has no official responsibilities. And their contention, is that we pull someone over, we run them through, and they have one of these administrative warrants that ICE has loaded in. But here's the thing. Councilwoman Abby came and kept asking about the administrative warrants, and Griffith was making like he didn't know what she was talking about, or we don't know entirely what you're talking about. But it's been reported over and over. And so these are warrants that are in there for immigration issues, not for any criminal case. It expanded the number of people who could be taken away by ICE. So they're given this song and dance, and there's one aspect of that I really wanted to highlight. Griffith said to members of council that they should run by him. They should run by the police union head comments they want to make about the police, right? I don't think that elected officials need to run by their comments by a police officer. And there was a discussion between Griffith and Councilwoman Kamen, who was the only person who really stood their course yesterday. Griffith said that use of the word fight be interpreted to attack ICE officers. So we're going to fight ICE. This fight. Common language. So here's the head of the police union telling us that common usage of a word could be interpreted as an attack on ICE or a threat to law enforcement. And it was just something, Egberto. So now we have to police our language. Not only do we have the actions of ICE, we can't resist them even verbally. And you know that people use that word with no intention of inciting any violence. But I found the whole thing disturbing.
Well, I mean, that these guys, remember, first of all, a lot of these guys that are cops, not all, but likely a large plurality of these guys, these are guys that believe in patriarchy, guys that believe that, they get some bigger pelotas from being a cop and having the gun, and they want to be in control, and they have their chests pull out there as if that makes them a man, right? So that sounds like the kind of attitude you see in the streets with ICE, and you see in the streets of a lot of guys in the Houston Police Union. But you know what? What we got to do is, I don't care what the hell they say. Everybody has your free speech rights, and we have to be ready to protect anyone that they try to deny that. Because, like I've told many times on this program, we do not cede our rights. We do not cede anything to these people. We do not cede. Welcome aboard, Lisa Blair from Atlanta, Georgia. Margaret Ryan, thank you for being here. And Maz Maniac, I think, from Deer Park. Welcome aboard. Likewise, we have LBW says because they're now considering the misdemeanor offense of simply existing on the side of an imaginary line a criminal offense. That's from LBW.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I thought, okay. My comment was headed somewhere else, about homeless policy or the civility ordinance. But the discussion yesterday, that talk about ceding your rights, just on target. So you remember a few weeks ago, the Pride crosswalk
yes.
at Westheimer and Taft. Mayor Whitmire capitulated immediately. Now, San Antonio is getting a little bit more credit in some respects than it merits for keeping it. Mayor Ortiz Jones there has basically the same position of Whitmire, that we need to get rid of it or we'll lose funding. Now, that, as I've said repeatedly, that's a valid issue. But Mayor Whitmire said, you have to get rid of that crosswalk. Don't talk about it. Don't cause a fuss. Now Mayor Whitmire says, look, we're going to cooperate with ICE. They minimize the cooperation with ICE. And how many of our rights are we going to look away at? So what is it next? Is it election denial? Election interference in 2026. There's no SNAP. They're okay if you starve. How many attacks on rights and civil liberties are we supposed to look away at? And there's no point where Mayor Whitmire will fight. There's the use of the word fight, and you see how they you see what they do. They not only do they want to inhibit our rights, they want to inhibit even our words in our minds. And Mayor Whitmire and also Councilmember Martinez, who's a Democrat, talked about that word fight. They were really focused on the word. That word. I think there must have been 8 or 9 at least admonitions not to use that word rather than how to protect your civil liberties. And it's just something. It really is just something.
I can see that got under your skin because of not only the simple saying word, but that they're trying to actually tell you what you are, what can come out of your mouth. Look, we fight for rights. We fight. There's nothing objection of that. We fight for good grades. We fight to stay on top. We fight. Those are the things we do. There's nothing wrong with using the words. And what we can't do, Neil, and I think this is something that you are stressing and must stress. We can't listen to weak politicians. We can't listen to weak politicians or sold out politicians and change our behavior for the fear, because it progressively gets worse. All right. Today is fight. Yes. Today is tomorrow will be admonished. Yes. Tomorrow, God knows what the other word will be. And suddenly you sound like somebody that's just placé. No, we cannot. Beth Andrews says they want to twist our words when we use them, but when they use the same words, it's okay. Cheryl Elkin says we must exercise our First Amendment rights. The only way to protect them, or William, Texas, right? The only way to protect our rights is to execute our rights, exercise our rights. You stop exercising your rights, you have ceded it. And that's what I talk about. These thugs are in power because we ceded power to them. If we ceded it, that means we can take it back. Continue, brother.
Councilwoman Kamen, and I've come back to her 2 or 3 times.
Let me hold on a second, Neil. I want to say Jack is talking about your video, your thing up and up. I think is a squelch on your phone, so you have to start and end strong because the squelch is trying to figure out if it's noise or not. But go ahead, brother.
Okay, Councilwoman Kamen, I've come back to her a few times. Talked about appeasement. She referenced Neville Chamberlain, the British
Chamberlain, Neville Chamberlain.
Yeah, Neville Chamberlain, the British Prime Minister, who has seen to have appeased Hitler, and she used that language. She used the language of appeasement and Chamberlain. And I thought it was very interesting because the clear inference from that is that the 6 council Republicans, there are 10 Democrats and 6 council Republicans, don't let anyone tell you it's nonpartisan, support a Hitlerian figure. That was the inference of what she was saying, and that the council Democrats who are quiet, and Tiffany Thomas, Martha Castex Tatum, Carolyn Evans Shabazz, and Tarsha Jackson, to my knowledge, have not said anything about any of this. That the council members who are quiet about a Hitlerian figure, and I appreciated the historical reference, and I appreciated the clear inference about what was being said because I felt that was accurate.
Absolutely so. Absolutely so. All right, Neil. Well, again, folks, remember, we cede our freedom. We cede our rights. And when we cede it, there's somebody on the other end to take it. Now, again, It is up to us not to do. What else you got for me, Neil?
there is an election. I had it pulled up here. I'm sorry. There's an election on December 13th with early voting the 1st through the 8th of December for the at-large city council race in Houston. If you live in Houston, you can vote in this election. Anywhere in Houston, you can vote in this election. And it is to replace Letitia Plummer, who is running in the county judge Democratic primary against Anise Parker. And that's something I'm sure we'll be talking a lot about over the next few months. The two candidates are Democrat Alejandra Salinas and Democrat Dwight Boykins. I cannot deny that Dwight Boykins is a Democrat. He has a Democratic primary voting history. He also is strongly endorsed by the right-wing firefighters union. And Alejandra Salinas, surprisingly, last week when Whitmire made his discussion about ICE, she actually criticized Whitmire, and it shouldn't be unusual for me to say that, but they don't do it. They don't do it because there's concern about retribution from Whitmire. Basically, the structure of Houston city government is that Abbott and Trump kick sand in John Whitmire's face, and then John Whitmire bullies the people below him. That's the structure of Houston city government. But Salinas criticized Whitmire for working with ICE, criticized him not being transparent all the way around. And those are the two candidates. I have not heard Boykins. He may well have talked about democracy issues or protecting our freedom. I have not heard it. And being close with the firefighters union, he in 2019 ran for mayor with the firefighters endorsement, in essence, to hassle Sylvester Turner in that election. So those are your two choices, Alejandra Salinas and Dwight Boykins. Early voting is the 1st through the 8th. Election day is the feel like I'm giving you. I'll get the correct date. I just had it pulled up. But those are your options. And again, if you live, I'm sorry, that's what's confusing me. Election day is a Saturday. That's what confuses me. So early voting is the 1st through the 9th, and election day, Saturday the 13th. If you live in the city of Houston, you can vote in this election. Anybody.
You should vote. You should vote.
You should
Again,
vote.
These are generally these low performance elections. Look, this is an at-large seat. And don't let anybody fool you. It can be either Democrat, Republican, progressive, or not. So therefore, go out there and research your choice and choose appropriately. Choose for your well-being. Anyway, folks, we're taking calls 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. Before I go to the phones, Cheryl Elkins has a question. Does Texas have an advocacy group like Fair Fight Action in Georgia? All these different groups that you have in Georgia actually exist in Texas as well, Cheryl. Let me just say this. While we have a very backwards legislature, one that is, I don't call bordering on evil. I call it evil because our legislature has caused the death of thousands of Texans. And what's interesting is most of the Texans of which they caused their deaths are actually their own. How did they do that? With the policies like lack of health care, poor education. All these things have made these many in Texas die. And the thing about it is we don't report the bad things in this state because many of the media here are pretty much in bed with, I shouldn't say in bed. They watch what they say. Over here, whenever you hear about ICE attacking and pulling people off the streets, you see the dirt on TV from LA or from Chicago. Over here, you can turn on any TV station, and even if there was a raid at an elementary school or whatever, You don't see it on TV here. So you don't see the evil emanating from the legislature here, but it's actually occurring. And that is what we have to make. Go ahead, Neil.
Is she reference? Is that the Stacey Abrams group? The voter.
I don't remember. I don't. I think that's what Brown's group. If I recall, because I interviewed her a few years ago. I don't think that's a Stacey Abrams group. But correct me if I'm wrong, Cheryl. But I don't think that's a Stacey Abrams group.
Sorry if I have that wrong. Another thing I wanted to comment on, is that Whitmire keeps saying that it is.
Oh, okay. I was wrong, Neil. Neil, I was wrong. Cheryl Elkins is correct. She says it is a Stacey Abrams group.
Let me directly address that. There are many entities in Texas, that are looking to get out the vote. And in terms of Democratic Party aligned ones, it's actually kind of confusing because there's the Texas Majority PAC, there's Act Blue, there's not Act Blue, Blue Action, There's Blue Action, the Texas Majority PAC, Democratic Party, of them, and there's a bunch of them, and you do get a little cynical because there's an awful lot of money involved, and there are many different, and then there's powered by people.
Yeah, that's what LBW just mentioned, powered by people from Beto.
And now Paxton is suing Beto. Texas Majority PAC has Soros money. There is actually Soros money out there, but there are multiple groups in the Democratic Party. They compete with one another. I do wonder why there are so many of them. A lot of money involved, and I am wary of it. And
in other words, they're not working together.
Working together, and let's say Jasmine Crockett gets in this Senate primary with Rico and Alred. They'll spend what, 50 million, 60, 70 million between them. Now everyone has a right to run, but your local Democratic club will be pleading for $100 for postcard stamps. And this is an industrial complex and an extractive industry like a strip
Exactly.
mine.
Okay, I want to clarify that, Neil, because I don't think you're being tough enough on what's going on here. There are groups that are out there playing, whether progressive or regressive, either side. And what they're really money collecting agencies. That's what they really are. Money collecting agencies. And they have a beautiful website and they tell you that they're going to bring the vote out and all that good stuff. And they're collecting all this money. And the truth of the matter, they're not working in a cohesive manner. So what they're really doing is making an income stream for yet another CEO, yet another CFO. They try to get a whole lot of outside workers to work on the cheap, but a central unit makes a whole lot of money. That is the stuff we have to gear up against. But Neil, we got some calls that we need to take. Great. I'm going to start with Stephen. Stephen, line 3. Come on in, Stephen.
Hey, good morning, Egberto.
Good morning, my brother. Talk to me.
Yes, sir. Hey, I'm usually pretty hesitant to call in because I'm usually on the road to work, and I'd like to try to give you guys full attention if I called in. But I was listening to the show yesterday, and I know there was some commentary about like right wing being guided by what someone says and kind of blindly following. And, the week before, there was a lady that came on and specifically stated candidates that you should vote for. Don't know if I necessarily agree with that approach. And then I heard something this morning. I heard you say, do your research and select your candidate. And I think that's a much better approach than just looking at a list that someone tells you, this is the person, right? So,
thank you for that, Stephen. Stephen, let me add to that. Stephen, if you can stay on the line a bit, let me add to that. You're correct. What I really want people to research the candidates, because I know when they research the candidates, and tie it to their well-being, if they accurately research a candidate and tie it to what's best for themselves and their families, they will come out with the right choice if they do good research. But here's some realities. And you talked about the lady that was on yesterday or last week who was talking about which candidates at the school board to vote for, right? There's a point. There's a point in time where there's no time, right? And that is where you develop centers of trust. So let's say, Stephen, I don't know if you do or not. Let's say you haven't done any research whatsoever, and you call me up and you say, because you've listened to the program and you believe it that I'm honest and that I'll give you good advice, you'd call and say, hey, Egberto, this is this. Who are you going to vote for? Who you think I should vote for? And I give you a name. You would not have done any research. Your research would have been my research. And because of your trust in me, you would have done that. Let me tell you point blank. In local politics here, Neil Aquino is much better connected than I am in that he knows a lot of some candidates that are deep inside elsewhere, whatever. I don't know. I would call Neil and I say, Neil, I got to go. I'm going to vote now. Who do I vote for? And because I have faith in Neil, that's who I'm going to vote for. And Neil has not failed me yet. So I hear what you're saying. You are correct. At the end of the game, though, sometimes you need to develop your sphere of trust in that when you need that trust, when you got to go make that important vote. You know what I mean, Stephen? You have a sphere of trust that you can work with.
If you've got like a true vested relationship with somebody, that makes sense. But I think a big issue is people need to get some skin in the game.
Yes,
and they need to
I agree.
take the time to do the research. And I think what happens is we end up in a position like we are now, whether you're right or left. And, it kind of is just a groupthink issue.
Right.
And I think especially at the local level, right, because it kind of trickles up.
Right, exactly.
Get the right people for your interest, and it kind of makes a larger impact from the bottom up.
Exactly. So. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you for bringing that point up because I think you allowed me to make an important point. Neil, do you want to say something real quick?
Yeah, let me address that. Thank you, Stephen. It is hard locally. For my Houston Democracy Project work, I watch every Tuesday comment and Wednesday agenda session of council, right? That is not what people are basically doing. The Houston Chronicle and KUHF website do have good reporting. And I would encourage people to look at that. It is hard. I would say to Stephen's point, he just said local. It is difficult with one newspaper with limited resources. Sometimes the TV stations will do some decent reports. But that local information, it is difficult to find. It takes effort. And that's one of many reasons I'm appreciative to be here on Thursdays and the specific Thursday local focus. But to Stephen's point, you do have to make an extra effort to know the local stuff.
Thank you, Neil. All right, we are completely filled up, so I think I better go ahead and start taking other calls.
Great.
Thank you, Stephen. That was a great call, Stephen. Let's go to Betty. Come on in, Betty.
Morning, Alberto. Hi.
Good morning, beautiful.
HPD. Oh, yeah. Okay, thank you for that. HPD, ICE, and National Guard, we are being triple clutch. In the now words of Trump's lawyers, shyster lawyers, they lie for a living. But I want to say something about the shutdown. Snap. Maybe, just maybe, Trump was a darling child at one time and did not have any help. Medicaid. Trump is older now, and I'm sure the doctor sees him more often. Trump, if you could turn your head a little bit, you could see your true crime, not made up. And on Schumer, I don't ever want to see anybody get fired. But if I ever got the chance to meet you, You wearing 2 pairs of shorts is not necessary. Love y'all.
Love you, Betty. Let's go to Cheryl Elkins. Cheryl Elkins, line 5. You know, Betty always have her stuff written down. Our beautiful Cheryl Elkins from Massachusetts. How you doing, beautiful?
I'm doing fine. I just thought I needed to call in to clarify something about what Fair Fight Action is. Mm-hmm. It's a voter information and eligibility group. So the work that we do is we call all of the counties ahead of elections to make sure that we have the information about what the vote is, where it is, what the early voting times are, where the absentee ballot can be put, what the precinct polls are. And over the last couple of years, what's happened is in the beginning, the election officials at the counties were like, who are you? Why are you calling? Why do you need this? And that doesn't happen anymore. It's much more transparent. And they update their websites more often. And you can make sure that when they do consolidate polling places and they change things, that information is available. And what Fair Fight Action has done is they've created their own website, which called peachvotes.org. I'll give you the link, where they consolidate all information so that voters.
Whoa, is that you, Cheryl? Wow, was that you, Cheryl? Okay, I don't know what was going on there either. Okay, go ahead.
It was a Morse code. You're not rescued, right? That wasn't a code.
Yeah.
Location.
Go ahead, Cheryl.
Yeah, right. So there's a website now that was created this year where any voter in Georgia can go, put in their county, and they can find out all of that information, early voting, et cetera, et cetera. You know, these rural counties don't actually put up on their website a lot of information. And so this has really helped make sure that voters know where and how to vote.
Look,
that's
Cheryl,
what I was asking about.
Well, Cheryl, okay. We do have, first of all, let me just say that in our county, they do a very good job. We have a great, what's her name? I can't remember her name, Neil. Go ahead.
Tanisha
Hudspeth, yeah. She does a great job in our county. But as you said, the rural counties and other counties don't do the same. I don't have specifically who does that kind of work here, but I know that I've actually gone on to a website, and it could have been yours. It could have been your website that I've gone on to that give the kind of information that you were just talking about. So I'll check that out. But let me just also say, when we were disparaging these groups, or I should say disparaging, calling attention to these groups, we weren't talking about groups like yours. It's a whole the amount of voter groups that show up in Texas around this time with similar names you would not imagine, and they are really money gobblers is what they really are. But thank you so kindly, Cheryl. We got a bunch of calls, and I got to try to make on them. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good luck.
All right. Thanks, Cheryl. Let's see. Let's go to the People's News. Richard, come on in. Richard, you're on.
Yeah, I'll just make it quick. I just heard your show. You mentioned Boykins. Boykins been in the community, and not the suburbs. I don't know what goes on in the suburbs, but Boykins been around for a while, and he said he was a part of the AGB movement at the Third Ward, but that's a whole other story, because that moved a lot of people that couldn't afford it out of the area to get to a grocery store. But city council in general, you have Amy and a couple of other city council members that would vote against the mayor, but everybody else seems to vote in line with the mayor. That's why you have the civility laws that's going on right now that have just passed. And those civility laws make it even harder for homeless people to get any type of help. They say they a $1 million building for the homeless, but it's not going to help out. It's not going to help out the majority of the homeless that's out there. He also stated in city council meeting that you only can. This is for the residents to call a number so they can send out the hot team, which is a police squad that deals with homelessness, and they give them a choice of either going to the shelter or getting a ticket, but they move all their stuff. And talking about locking up homeless people, you don't have enough people right now, and that's taking care of the jails are overcrowded right now. I think they're at 20 people have died this year at Harris County Jail.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I lost count. So, you talk about these things and talk about what's going on in city council and what the effect is going to have on the inner city, not the Harris County suburbs. Is a whole different story. Voting in general is and the people that the League of Women Voters does a great job of getting the information out there on candidates is out. One thing that I felt was weird with the last election was Al Green announcing that he's going to run.
Oh, I want to ask you about that. And Richard, you and I need to work on doing one of my programs in the morning. I'm going to wake your butt up in the morning so that we can actually talk some of these issues. But what do you think about Al Green running in the 18th next session?
Well, you know how the Congress works, and you get jobs or committees that you put on. And being a freshman congressman like Minifree or Edwards would get going into that position, they would get minor committees. Congressman Green's been on there a while, and he's a senior congressman, so he gets to hire up committees to be on. Now, does that blackball the new people from taking those seats? Because that's the problem. I don't think Minifree or Edwards is going to be strong and stand up like Green does and say, hey, these things are wrong. But it's a time when we said that about Turner. Can you give this to a new generation of people?
Actually, that's what we need. Yeah. I think we need to go to a new generation. I tell you what, Richard, I hate to cut you off, but I'm full of calls. Let's have a session where we can talk. Go make your comment, Neil.
Richard brought up something that I'll do this quickly. Richard brought up something that I really wanted to bring up: the expansion of the civility ordinance. So this civility ordinance essentially means you cannot. Council voted to expand a rule prohibiting sitting, lying down, or placing personal possessions on sidewalks to cover the greater East End. Okay, they have expanded this twice without the normal petition process that previously you needed to use. They just want to move these people on. There's a story in the New York Times this morning that the federal government is moving away from a housing first position. They're going to be kicking some of the most vulnerable people out of housing. And they show a picture of a camp in Utah where a lot of these people have been sent. And it's a collection of shacks that reminds me like of an internment camp picture that you would see where the Japanese people were sent during the war. They want to put these folks in camps. And Mayor Whitmire pledged up and down that there would not be more citations. And Chief Satterwhite, who helps administer these programs, they promised up and down when they talked about their homeless initiative that they would not be issuing more citations to homeless people. And the citations, according to the Chronicle and KUHF, are way up. And they are just moving these people, and they are going to end up in camps. And Whitmire knows that.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is this is all, again, money. The prison industrial complex and how to keep these things funded. People look at what ICE is doing. ICE serve two purposes: to scare people and to fund the prison industrial complex. That's the only two purposes, because they don't really want to get rid of all these undocumented workers. They need them. but they want to feed the prison industrial complex and
God knows
also
where they are.
fear.
There's been reporting that lots of these people are missing that ICE is taken. God,
exactly.
When the story comes out someday, it's going to be something.
It's going to look terrible. Let's go to Bard, line 1. Come on in, Bard. Is Bard there or not? All right, Bard's not there. Let's go to Bruce. You can Bard. Yeah, Bruce.
Hello.
Yeah, Bruce. You here, Bruce?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I want to validate something you've taught us. I had a little incident yesterday. I was at the library on the computer, and I got up to leave, and I didn't realize my leg had fell asleep. And I took one step, and I fell. Well, nobody saw it, so I got up kind of embarrassed and shook my leg a couple times and took 2 more steps, and my ankle turned over, and I went down again. And this time, everybody saw it. They all jumped up and ran over there. I guess they thought I was having a heart attack or something, but I was all right. When I got home, I got thinking about it. Nobody asked me if I was a Democrat or a Republican.
Exactly.
They simply asked me, "Are you okay? Are you okay, sir?" And so on a basic level, and I'm excluding the January 6th nutcases, on a basic level, the average person is good, is really decent.
Yes.
I'm done. I don't want to take any more time. You got callers. Bye.
Thank you very much for that, Bruce. And that is the thing that that is the best story of the morning, Bruce, because, the people's first reaction tells a lot about that person's humanity. And when you fell, nobody went in there and figured out, well, it's a Democrat, to hell with him. It's a Republican, to hell with him. The first thing they saw was, let me help you. That negative stuff that we have in society right now is what those leaders who know to mess with your carnality, that is what they do. Thank you, buddy, for that. Let's go to Moses. Come on in, Moses.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Let me
sis.
begin by saying, America, America, when will you ever learn? Your leaders are leading you to insult the God in whom you say you trust. Say to the mayor of Houston, when you begin to grind the face of the homeless and think of ways to arrest them, remember, you are bending your backside in the face of God, who told you that you shall not oppress the poor. We have seen one disaster after the other. I remember there was that hurricane. When the water came through, all of the rich people the day after had to find themselves homeless in the Georgia Brown Convention Center. We have seen hurricane after hurricane, disasters after disasters. And the next day, those who were fighting against the poor and the homeless, they themselves were homeless. Tell the mayor of Houston, you are messing with God. Thank you.
Thank you so kindly, Moses. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Let's go to John from Minneapolis.
Right.
I just wanted to make a comment about policing and the police unions. And police unions, generally speaking, are, they dominate city politics. And it's because of the structure of the unions themselves that you cannot implement any change. And various cities like Milwaukee, Chicago have, addressed that. But that is the only way. You have to have the input of citizenry directly in the decisions that are made. You can't depend on the police unions because even the supervisors are part of the union. So, of course, they're not going to go against the culture of the union, which these unions have a tendency to be like mafia. And that's not to disparage all police, but the structure does not really uphold the good policeman, they uphold the bad one. That's why we had, Eric Garner suffocated to death in Staten Island, New York, where I'm originally from, and then here, Derek Chauvin doing the same thing essentially here in Minneapolis against George Floyd. So it's never going to change unless we address that. And most of the police here, they don't live in this city.
Right. Well, look, thank you for that, John. Thank you for that. I'm running out of time to handle all the calls, but thank you, my brother.
Yep.
All right, let's go to Augie. Augie, come on in, Augie.
Good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
Eyes. I remember I called one time about this, and I was going to a doctor's appointment along I-10 on Access Road. I'm next to the right lane, but the right lane has all these cars that look alike, and I didn't recognize what kind of cars they were. And at the front of it's like a convoy of cars, and at the very front, there's the HPD car. And we stopped for the traffic light turns green, and all of a sudden these cars all burst up in speed and turn on their lights. The police car turns on its lights. Then these cars that are zooming past me, their brake lights, they have red and blue lights. I never saw that before. And then there's a driveway, and there's a bunch of businesses, small businesses at the very end of the driveway. The police car makes a sharp right turn without even slowing down into the driveway. That makes a U-turn. And all these other cars make a right turn in there also. And they're all going toward these businesses way at the back. But the HPD car is blocking that entrance so no other cars can go in there. And it was an ICE raid. But I never heard of anything on any of the news channels about this ICE raid.
That's what I was talking about. You're right, Augie. It's going on all over Houston, but we're not publicizing it because we know it'll hurt the politicians and real quickly. Because again, Houston is one of those cities that is full of Latinos, full of immigrants, full of all kind of folk, more so than any other city in the country.
Yeah.
Anyway, Augie,
and this is the last election, I voted for Salinas because right before I went to vote, I looked at the League of Women Voters. I didn't realize there were so many people running for that one spot. And but I looked at all the candidates. I think there must have been about 18 of them. And Salinas looked like the best one from what I read. So I'll go to vote for her. And the
Augie, Augie, I'm out of time, Augie, and I got two more calls. So out of time. Thank you, my brother. Let's go to Bobby real quick. Bobby, give me about 30 seconds.
Okay, real quick. When I see people going to bars and drinking all day long, I notice a lot of times they get on the freeway going the wrong way and have a head-on collision and take out a whole family. I see people who smoke all day long, and the only thing they kill is like a box of donuts. Yet I see the governor going after marijuana so hard, and it's really obvious that the people in the alcohol, big pharma, and all these people have interest in holding it down because it does things like stop seizures in kids. It's a safer alternative. I think we really need to get big money out of
Bobby. Let me just tell you, I got to leave you here, but I just want to say you nailed it. My mother is so in pain. I tried to get her to go to a dispensary, but because of culture, she will not. Look, this is something that we should talk about at some other time, but you're right. Thank you, Bobby. Let's go to Ray, my brother Ray from Third Ward. Come on in, Ray. How you doing? You got 30 seconds, brother.
Yeah, I'll make it. I wanted to ask Neil. Oh, there's an echo in my voice.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, but Neil, I wanted to ask you directly, since you are the man of Houston politics, I want to ask, what do people like about Dwight Boykins? Because I had a friend on Facebook that said that he was complicit in destroying the HERO Act. And I wanted to know what you knew about that.
He did vote against Hero. He gives some reason why he didn't, but why he did so. He did vote against Hero. You asked what people like about Dwight Boykins. I get the sense, and others have said that it's true, that he's good on constituent services. He is in neighborhoods. He does get around. You get the sense that if you had 2 inches of water in your house, he might come. I don't think that supersedes the rest of it, but that's something people like about Dwight Boykins.
We're out of time. Hey, Ray, let's talk at 3:00, Ray. We're out of time. Let me throw it to the studio.
Oh, nothing here. Jack, you got anything? Okay, take it home, Egberto.
Neil, please tell us about how folks can get to you.
Great. HoustonDemocracyProject.com. Houston Democracy Project. I have a blog. I write about local politics. Early voting is the 1st through the 9th of December. The election day is the 13th. If you live in the city of Houston, you can vote in the at-large for council race. Salinas has criticized Mayor Whitmire, criticized ICE.
And your website is?
HoustonDemocracyProject.com.
HoustonDemocracyProject.com. Folks, please remember the rest of the program is at politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. You can write me directly, email me directly at kpft@politicsdoneright.com, kpft@politicsdoneright.com. I love you all. Thank you for being here. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right, and you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out! Support for this show, Politics Done Right, comes from politicsdoneright.com, publishers of How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It, As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom, It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, and other books written by Egberto Willies.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.